From starting a Champions League match with Lionel Messi to playing in a mid-table team in Cyprus. From being one of the most promising talents in European football to wearing the jersey of a small team in the Netherlands. These are only 2 of the 6 players you'll see in this video that proves playing for Barcelona at a young age does not guarantee a successful career. Starting with a player that was considered one of the most promising talents in Europe, but now is literally unknown. Alen Halilovic. Yes, this guy was a huge promise, and you'll see why. He arrived at Barcelona at the age of 18, and before that had already played some big matches. This attacking midfielder was born in Croatia, and at just 16 years old, he played in the Champions League for Dinamo Zagreb. He also became the youngest player in Dinamo's history, the youngest to score, and the youngest to debut for the Croatian national team, even being compared to Lionel Messi and Luka Modric. He was no joke. So Barcelona decided to buy him and signed a 5-year contract. He was a gem for the future of the club. So in January 2015, at just 18 years old, played his first match for the main team in Copa del Rey. He had everything to go for a brilliant career.
Acaba de entrar, balón para Sergi Roberto, tira la pared con Halilovic, tiene la zurda de oro, al palo!
But at that time, Barcelona already had Iniesta, Busquets and Rakitic. So without having much space to gain experience, he was loaned for a year to Sporting Gijón, hoping to return soon. And that Gijón didn't play poorly, but also didn't have the overwhelming numbers that many expected. And in mid-2016, at 20 years old, he really saw that wasn't gonna have enough space at Barca and decided to take his talent elsewhere. So he accepted to be sold to a club far from there, Hamburger SV. And at Hamburg he could really take off. But little did he know that was gonna get much worse. In Germany he had off-field problems, and with manager changes he was benched. And in the opportunities that really had couldn't show much, in addition to getting injured as well. So just 6 months after arriving in Germany, he was loaned back to Spain to play for, not Barcelona, but Las Palmas, one of the smallest teams in the Spanish league. He stayed there for a year and a half, being an average player. Not too bad, but also nothing impressive. And little did he know that after that, would never stay that long in a single club, starting a sequence of crazy transfers. After Las Palmas, he went to Milan for free, but only played 3 games and was benched. So 6 months later was loaned to Standard de Liège in Belgium, 9 months later loaned to Heerenveen in the Netherlands, and in 2020 he was left without a club for 1 month, until he signed for Birmingham City in the Championship. Then in the following year went to Reading and returned to Croatia to defend a club called Rijeka. Unfortunately, his career was declining, and at Rijeka he stayed for only 6 months, where he was left without a club again. At least in mid-2023, signed with the club that currently plays, Fortuna Sittard, in the Dutch league. The guy who played the Champions League at the age of 16 and went to Barcelona at just 18 saw his football decline, and today at 27 is nothing what expected, with a market value of only 1 million euros. But if you think Halilovic was a big disappointment, you'll see the story of other 5 youngsters, and wait until you see what happened to the next player. And his next guy showed up in the 2015-16 season, when came from La Masia and got a chance in the first team, the midfielder Wilfried Kaptoen. You probably don't know this guy, and that's the point. He came from the youth academy and in October 2015 at 19 years old made his debut for the first team in a Copa del Rey match against Villanovense. He was the youngest player in the squad that season, and later in December 2015 played a Champions League match against Bayer Leverkusen. He was even in the starting 11 playing alongside none other than Lionel Messi. What a start to his career. Then in February, in the Copa del Rey semi-final,
atención ahí, que el Barça mete el tercero y lo hace Kaptoen, que yo no sé si es el primer.
He scored his first goal, and Kaptoen had everything to get even more space in the team. But even with these matches, he continued to play mostly for Barcelona B and had to wait for other opportunities. But then the worst happened. In mid-2017, had a knee injury that left him sidelined for months, and when he was able to play again, Barcelona decided to not continue with him. So in 2018 they agreed to terminate the contract. His market value dropped to only 200,000 euros. So he left Barca and managed to sign with another club, Real Betis. And that Betis had some good games, but in others did poorly, sat on the bench, and in just 15 matches in the 2018-19 season had no goals and no assists. He couldn't be a decisive player and sometimes was even the worst on the field. and on top of that had injuries that kept him out for some matches. So in January 2020 he took a step back and was loaned to a second division team, Almeria. Now he was out of the first division and still couldn't find his form. Then in May 2020 his loan ended and did not renew with Real Betis, so Captain was left without a club. What a tragedy. But finally in 2021 he returned, now far from Spain, in MLS for New England Revolution. He left Europe and was now in the United States, where he had many more matches. But after 2 seasons he left the United States to return to the Spanish second division to play for Las Palmas. But if he hoped to take off there, ended up spending many games on a bench. So stayed for only a short time and in May 2023 transferred to his current club, Larnaca. What team is this? A club from Cyprus. And not even the best in the country, but a mid-table team that has never won the Cypriot League. Yes, the young star from Barcelona who played in the Champions League with Messi now plays for a mid-table team in Cyprus. And his market value? 700,000, not even the most expensive player in the squad. But Captum is not the least valuable player in this video. There's a guy that was once a Barcelona gem but now sits at the bench of a small Portuguese team. Now if Captum could have been a star, the next one had an even greater potential. This midfielder called Carles Aleñá came from La Masia and in the B team played very well. So he got a chance in the first team and in the 2016-17 season was the youngest player. And in November 2016 at 18 years old, he was called to play a Copa del Rey match against a small team called Hercules. And it was against this team that he also scored his first goal with a powerful shot from outside the box, showing that he really had everything to be a world-class player.
Ahí está Aleñá que le puede pegar desde ahí el tiro.
But after that he continued with Barcelona B and in the 2017-18 season it was the same thing. He played so well for Barcelona B that was even nominated for the Golden Boy Award. So at the end of 2018 was officially promoted to the first team and with the manager Valverde entered the field many times. He played in the Champions League, Copa del Rey and 17 La Liga matches. Barça signed a contract with him for 3 years with a 75 million euros clause. The best start we've seen so far. But if he thought that was gonna stay for a long time, in the second half of 2019 was benched a lot of times. Had really only a few matches and ended up being loaned to Real Betis until the middle of the following year. His idea was to return to Barça with much more experience. But when he did return, guess what happened? Continued warming the bench, only entered the field 5 times. So in January 2021 he was loaned again, this time to Getafe. And there he started many more matches playing an important role, so accepted to make a full transfer. Carles is currently a Getafe player with a market value of 3 million euros. Now we'll see what happened to the youngest player of the 2017-18 season, the youngest from the 2018-19 and the following one. Spoiler alert, none of them are playing for Barça anymore. And Carles Aleñá have an amazing career if you compare him with the next on our list. And this was a youngster who even had the surname Busquets, but now is literally unknown. This guy appeared in November 2017, when Barcelona played a Copa del Rey match and started with Busquets. That was not Sergio, but Oriol Busquets. This guy was born in Catalonia and entered Barcelona's youth ranks at just 8 years old. So he grew in the youth ranks, moved to the B team, and in November 2017 at 18 years old started a Copa del Rey match.
Just happens to share the same name, the same physique, a similar style, and the same position for Barcelona.
Juega el debutante Oriol Busquets.
This guy seemed destined for success, but after that he continued playing for the B team, and even though was the captain there, didn't have space in the first team. So in mid-2019 he agreed to be loaned to get experience in another club, Twente in the Netherlands. He played in the Dutch league and was always in the starting 11, gaining more and more experience. Until his loan ended and when returned to Barça, was put in a B team again. He continued without space among the first team. So when his contract with Barcelona ended, he decided to leave, moving on a free transfer to France, but not to PSG or Marseille. Instead, he went to Clermont. And this decision to go to Clermont proved very bad. He spent most games on a bench and practically didn't enter the field. So he left and signed with his current team, Aroca in Portugal. And there, well, he's not a starter either. Some matches do start playing, but others sit on a bench. The young Catalan that was once a huge promise at Barcelona is not even a guaranteed starter for a Roca and has a very low market value, 450,000 euros. He's even one of the least valuable players there. What a decline. But if Oriol Busquets played only one Copa del Rey match, the youngest of the following season was once a starter in the Champions League. Yes, this happened in the 2018-19 season, when the left back Juan Miranda debuted for the first team. His debut was in October 2018, when at 18 years old started in a Copa del Rey match. And he didn't play just that game, but also the next one, played against Levante, and in December 2018 had the biggest game of his career so far, when was a starter in the Champions League group stage against Tottenham. He played the full 90 minutes and had a score of 7.4 on SofaScore. This guy was good. But according to Barca's coach, he still wasn't ready for the first team just yet and continued with the B team, until mid-2019, when to gain experience was loaned to Schalke. But in Germany, he didn't have the consistency he wanted and often stayed on a bench. So at the end of the season was loaned to another club, Real Betis. Betis was a city near his hometown and there started to play much more. So in 2021 decided to not renew his contract with Barcelona and signed with Real Betis, where he is today. He didn't decline so badly like the others and has a market value of 9 million euros. But all the players I've talked about so far didn't even come close to the expectation created around the next player. And this was a guy that in the 2019-20 season shocked the world when entered the field at just 16 years and 9 months.
The crown jewel of La Masia, 16-year-old Ansu Fati.
And in the next match, Fati scored his first goal and gave his first assist against a big team like Valencia. He indeed had a dream debut. Played lots of La Liga matches, scored 7 goals, and even scored in the Champions League against Inter Milan. It was incredible. So in the following season, he continued playing very well and going for an amazing career, until the worst happened.
Uy, que balón buscando a Ansu, no consigue rematar el 22, es penalti. Es penalti.
He suffered a serious knee injury, leaving him sidelined for almost 1 year, and the 2020-21 season went downhill. Very tough. Then in the following 2021-22 season, he suffered another injury that kept him out again and only played 15 games. His career was plagued by injuries, until the 2022-23 season, where he managed to stay safe but wasn't producing the same numbers as before and even started losing space in the starting 11. His father was even blaming Barcelona for the lack of playing time. So the guy who inherited Messi's number 10 decided to leave Spain for some time and was loaned to Brighton. But guess what? Got injured again. It's sad that a guy who debuted at only 16 years old and scored several goals at such a young age is suffering so much from injuries. But there is still time to recover. So after Ansu Fati, the youngest in the following 2020-21 season was Pedri, in the 2021-22 was Gavi, and now Yamal. And all three, of course, are still in Barca. So let's see if they will have the career that we expect. So did you like this video? Check out this other one. I think you're gonna like it. Thank you and bye.